Hey y'all. I don't really have an introduction because I don't know what this is going to be yet. But I am going to launch a YouTube channel called My75 Community. And like I said, I don't know what it can be yet. No plans to monetize it or nothing stylistically decided or anything like that. And frankly, I'm going to have to learn how to use YouTube again. I'm in full auntie mode. So I'm over here trying to figure out my tools. But maybe if I explain what I'm thinking, and y'all can help me figure out exactly what this could be. So if you know me, you know that I've worked in real estate in some capacity for the last 20 years. And I'm back working. I'm working in real estate development now. One of our projects is about a 200-acre property in central New York in a city called Cazenovia. And the idea for redevelopment of this property is something called an agri-hood. Think if you've ever been to Serenbe, which is just south of Atlanta, which is like this community unto itself that Steve Nygren basically had the idea for to put in the middle of the woods. And it's all about sustainable living and choosing your neighbors and that sort of thing. It is a very, very high-end, exclusive agri-hood, but having a farm where your food can come directly from farm to table to the restaurants in the area, but also living in a very intentional community with people who see sustainability the same as you and want to live intentionally in community. So that's the idea for that project. And in the research that we're doing to learn about different models, I've learned about how, in agrarian societies, which are those that are centered around agriculture, which was pre-industrial living for us, between like being hunter-gatherers and pre-industrial, in the industrial age, people lived in agrarian societies that were dependent on agriculture for life, right? And your wealth was in land and that sort of thing. People lived in groups of about 75 families, 75 to 100 families. And they found and they would move about even when they would have to relocate. People would kind of stay in that 75 to 100 family nucleus, and they relied on each other for their different skills and talents. So this was not like a currency-based society. People weren't necessarily buying things from each other. It was more like bartering, and you know how to sew and I know how to fix things, or I know how to, so people work together. So, but there were obviously a lot of problems with this as well, because people will corrupt anything. And so those with land obviously controlled those societies, and they subjugated people who worked the land as opposed to own the land and all that other stuff. But that's people. That does not mean that we cannot learn something from that model, borrow the best parts, improve upon the weaknesses, and move forward. And so the idea of living intentionally, and especially that idea that you could create a community of about 75 people that that you can work with cooperatively, and figure out how to just get through this life together, really intrigued me. And so although we may not be able to live in pods of 75 physically, although that would make it a lot easier to do that, I had this idea that, instead of working against technology and social media and all the things that kind of really irritate me right now, I just, against my better judgment, I open the comments every time there's a post, and there's always something disgusting there. I have not learned yet, but social media, I don't think is going anywhere, although I think we could all use a break. But I think it does offer us an opportunity to create community, right? So the idea of creating an intentional group of people that can agree to work together and figure out how to work together is really, really interesting to me, and how social media can be used to bridge that. And then the other part of that interests me is trying to figure out what role I could play in a community like that. I hate to say it, that where we are socially, politically, economically even, I am not confident that the way that we have been living is sustainable. I think we could very realistically face food and goods shortages at some point. The militarization of our cities could drive people out of the homes that they are used to, and we may have to move to a place where there is no store you can just go buy things from. money may not be as valuable as it is now, or you don't have money, so you can't rely on your money to get you everything. And I think we need a bit of a resetting around what we consider skills and earning money in the marketplace, pushing paper. And this, I say this as a paper pusher, you know, as a strategist who gets paid to think, just may not be enough in a situation like that. So I have been trying to identify like classes or something that I can take just to strengthen some of the natural skills that I have, and some of the things that now I wish I had tapped into, like my mom tried to teach me to sew when I was young. And I know enough to be dangerous. I get it. So I can certainly learn it. But, you know, things that are practical, stuff like carpentry, how to fix things when they break. You know, if we can't just go get new cars easily, then the ones we have become much more valuable, and you got to keep those going, right? So that intrigues me, right? And so I don't know how to do all that stuff myself, but what I'm hoping we can do is create a community of learners, people who know different things, who are willing to share and are willing to be collaborative. I love the idea of mutual aid and us willingly signing up to be of service to others in crisis and out of crisis. Just being able to connect with folks again, because I also sense a sadness and an isolation. And with social media being so prevalent, it seems like people feel more socially isolated now. And so those are a lot of thoughts that have been going on for 7 minutes at this point. That's a lot. That's a lot to try to achieve and a lot to do. And so that's why I say I don't know what this can become. I know myself. I know it's really easy for me to start stuff and not necessarily to follow through on things, besides the things that I absolutely have to do, like work, things like that. I'm really good with that. With anything that's not that, sometimes it can be a little slippery for me. So I can't do it by myself either. So if you're willing to help me sit down and ideate and structure some of it, that would be cool too. So yeah, like I said, I don't know what this is other than right now a community of learners. So let me know if you want to join. Subscribe to the channel. It is My75 community at YouTube. And yeah, let's see what comes of it, okay? Bye.